Happening now on Grid tonight, Max Verstappen is going to race at the Green Hell. Who'll be joining him in the driver lineup for this crown jewel endurance race? Alex Bowman will miss another race due to lingering vertigo symptoms. What does his continued absence mean for his chase hopes, and who's filling in for him in Sin City? IndyCar unveiled the Washington DC street circuit. Did they do a good job designing the track? Hello to all of our viewers watching here in the United States and around the world. Welcome to Grid Tonight, your weekly motorsports news program. I'm Kobe Lambeth. With me are Joshua Birch from JB Motorsports and Matt White from Grid Endurance Performance Index. Throughout the show, leave your comments and questions in the chat for us to display, and visit gridnetworktv.com for our latest content. Now, Josh, take it away with our top story this evening.
Thank you, Kobe. Hello to you. Hello, Matt. And hello, everybody. Well, it's official. Four-time Formula One World Champion Max Verstappen will make his debut in the 24 Hours of Nürburgring in the month of May. Now, Verstappen will be part of Winward Racing's two-car lineup for the twice-around-the-clock German Endurance Classic. Now, Winward will prepare the number 3 Mercedes-AMG Team Verstappen racing entry in an all-pro driver lineup consisting of Verstappen joining Mercedes factories drivers Julian Guinon, Daniel Gadea, and Lucas Auer. Now, the other factory Winward entry will have Mario Angel, Maximilian Martin, and Fabian Schiller, and of course Lucas Saltz. Now, but focusing on the number 3 Mercedes, Verstappen will begin his preparations for the 24 Hours of Nürburgring next weekend. As we know, he'll be competing with Red Bull this weekend in Formula One's Chinese Grand Prix. But during an off week on Saturday, March 21st, Verstappen will participate in the NLS2 race to get ready for his big debut before flying to Suzuka for the Japanese Grand Prix the following weekend. Now, last year, Verstappen was able to get his DMSB permit Nordschleife and won on debut in the LNS9. Now, he's getting ready to tackle the NLS2 and the 24-hour endurance race itself in the middle of a busy F1 season in year 1 of new regulations. Verstappen said the Nurburgring is a special place and he's thrilled to finally make it happen. To debut is this ticking bucket list race, graphic courtesy of Intercontinental GT Challenge. Kobe, starting with you on this one. What are the odds that Max Verstappen will win on debut in the 24 Hours of Nürburgring?
I said, Josh, given how challenging, this Nurburgring circuit is, with the Nordschleife, it's like checkers or records, right? He's either going to go out and win with this strong driver lineup, or he's going to crash trying. Verstappen racing, Winward, as this a really great partnership. It seemed like Winward, is winning all over the globe right now. We see them in IMSA all the time. They've gone to Europe and obviously had a lot of success over there, and now they're teaming up with the 4-time Formula One World Champion. I think it's going to be, a very exciting time to watch Max Verstappen compete in this twice-around-the-clock German Endurance Classic. And I remember when Nico Hülkenberg ran the 24 Hours of Le Mans while he was still an active Formula One driver. Everyone was tuning in to see how Nico Hülkenberg would do, and he ended up winning this whole thing overall. And Max Verstappen, we saw already when he competed at the Nürburgring last year, it brought out a whole bunch of people who don't typically watch those races to see how Max was doing, including me. That was the first time I actually watched a race at the Nürburgring outside of, the 24-hour event while on the Nordschleife circuit at the very least. But when May rolls around, I know there's going to be a lot of attention. The month of May to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but in the middle of that, we're going to be watching this 24-hour race, making plans to tune in to see how Max Verstappen is going to do. And we know that there's a lot of great teams who are going to be competing in this event, a part of the Intercontinental GT Challenge. So while Max's lineup is very stacked, there's a lot of other great lineups that are going to be in this race. So it's not going to be easy for him to win, but if anybody can do it, I believe Max Verstappen can. I don't want to say shock the world, because nothing he does is, really surprising anymore. But I would not be shocked if Max Verstappen goes out there and wins on debut, getting the overall win in the 24 Hours of Nürburgring, because Josh already listed the great drivers that he's going to be with in his car, the number 3 Mercedes and Jules Guinon, Danny Hunkaday, and Lucas Auer, 3 of the fastest factory drivers that Mercedes could provide. So Max is going to be in very great hands there, and he might very well be as quick as the factory guys who do this on a daily basis, because we see that Max can adapt to any type of car, no matter what it is, and make it go really fast. Yeah, so really looking forward to seeing what Max can do at the Green Hell in May.
Yeah, busy weekend that will be for him. Hello, everyone. He's going to be racking up some air miles, as we talked about when this news was doing the rounds before Christmas. Can he win? Well, yes. Will he win? We shall find out. But he was very impressive, of course, last year in the race that he did. And he's got an absolutely stacked lineup. I mean, that is top tier. That team is going to be one of the favourites for that race, and Mercedes haven't won there for a while, so they're going to be really gunning for that one. Yeah, it's exciting to see what he can do. Will this be the beginning of the branch? We're out from Formula One. We'll perhaps touch on that next, but very excited to see what he can do. And as Kobe said, you know, there was a lot of eyes on that race that he did last autumn. And there'll be plenty of people tuning. Well, I would think there might be some people tuning in this weekend to see how his team gets on. And this is the first race of the season is this Saturday. And then Verstappen will be taking part in race 2 next Saturday in that gap in the F1 calendar between Shanghai and Japan, as you mentioned, Josh. So very exciting times if you are a Max Verstappen fan. And will we see even more orange than we normally would see at the Nurburgring in May? I'm going for a definite yes.
100%. It's sort of even the race we had there behind closed doors, there were still fans climbing the side of the circuit, and most of them were Max Verstappen fans. Adam says, this is awesome and can't wait to see how Max does at the historic Nurburgring track in Germany. Of course, I believe this will only be the second time he's been there at an international event for the 24 hours and then the Eiffel Grand Prix, because so it was off the calendar for some years. So not too bad for a big headline. But just to follow up on this, given Verstappen's dissatisfaction with the new F1 regulations, do you think that he could finish out his Red Bull contract through the end of 2028? Or do you reckon he could leave early and go all in with what seems to be dedication with sports car racing?
I think we'll probably have to wait and see how the Formula One season plays out. Where will we be in, let's say that he does win the 24 hours in May. That is the end of this first sort of stanza of the season before the European season starts, which is still bizarre that the Formula One European season doesn't start till June. So this is going to be between Miami and Montreal. And if Red Bull are kind of in the position, let's say they were at the weekend, as the sort of third to fourth best team, and the top two are running away with it. I'm sure we're going to touch on the Formula One race from the weekend later when we get to Austin March. You can guarantee that. What will Max do if he's doing well in sports cars? And you know, even if he's not, the team that have got his name plastered down the side are doing the business. Then he does plenty of this stuff in the virtual world. Will he be able to transfer that into the real world and be successful? Well, yes, as we've already seen. Excited to see how he gets on next weekend, and then that will then tell us how and why and what's going to happen. He's been very open about this new regulation set, as have some other drivers. But Max has probably been the most vocal about them. And if he's not winning, then and he is winning elsewhere, then there's perhaps a chance that he will pull up the drawbridge and leave. I kind of don't think that the Red Bull, I know there's contracts, so they're as much use as the piece of paper they're written on, frankly. If Max wants to go and do something else, I don't think the way that his history has been with the Red Bull family, that they really haven't got much choice in trying to keep him.
Yeah, man, I totally agree that contracts are absolutely meaningless these days. It doesn't matter if you're signed through 2026, 2027, or 2028. You can pretty much get up and leave and go on about your merry way. Or if you're a driver who's having a tough time, they'll send you on your way without you even, deciding to leave on your own. But in Max Verstappen's case, I think it's, obviously way too soon to tell what Max will do. I know he's already gone on the record to talk about how much he hates the new regulations. As we talked about on previous show, he said that this new Formula One car is like Formula E on steroids. He said promotes anti-racing, that it basically takes the driver more out of the equation when it comes to the actual racing. And Max also hit out against the new regulations again. I know you guys are going to touch more on this in Hots and Nods later, but Max was basically said after the Australian Grand Prix that he still feels that same way about the cars, that he didn't enjoy himself, and talked about how you can only take so much. And he called for the FIA and Formula One to come together and make some tweaks to the regulations, to try to make it more friendlier for the drivers, where they'll enjoy it more, because the style of racing we saw in Australia, Max said that he did not like it. He even got called out, him and Lewis Hamilton, by the F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali, who said that it basically does Formula One no good, when you have like some of your biggest names bad-mouthing the regulations, after just one race weekend, and all of that. But Max did say, if he doesn't like the way Formula One is going, he'll quit, and I guess he'll go sports car racing at some point. I think it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when Max Verstappen is going to go sports car racing. If Max Verstappen decided to retire from Formula One today, he's already cemented his legacy. Max doesn't really need to accomplish anything else in Formula One. He's basically accomplished everything there is to accomplish in this sport. But the only thing that he's doing now is just continuing to add to his legacy at this point. So he doesn't necessarily need to be in Formula One. So if Max chooses to go after his happiness, go sports car racing, I think it would be fun to see him, whether he eventually goes full-time in, let's say, the World Endurance Championship, or he's just going to cherry pick, some of the enduros, like the 24 hours of Nurburgring, the 24 hours of Spa, the 24 hours of Daytona, 12 hours of Sebring, the Petit Le Mans, all of those great endurance races all around the world. Or for goodness sake, the Bathurst 12 hour, which was just last month. There was a lot of great endurance races all over the world. I'm sure Max Verstappen would love to compete in. And I think it's just a matter of when that opportunity has come. But will it come after 2028? It could, or could it come before then if he's not enjoying himself? That's also a possibility as well.
Yeah, we'll get more onto the 2026 rules and the Australian Grand Prix later on down the show, presumably in Hots and Nots. I'll say Max doesn't finish his Red Bull contract and go sports car racing, says Adam as well. I think that's a severe possibility as well coming into it, especially if he doesn't like the new regulations. And after what happened to him spinning in qualifying, you can sort of say that. Go on, Matt.
Just going to say, of course, we're talking about Max coming in for the 24 hours and next weekend, the first race of the season. Quickly, just because we haven't got a EPI segment tonight, I'll just quickly bring you a little news and notes for the first, because this is the next race in the grid EPI, which is this weekend. You can watch the F1 sprint on Saturday morning and then tune in for NLS 1. 132 cars, yes, 132 cars for a 4-hour race on Saturday. 24 of them in the top category, which they call SP9. We refer to it as GT3. As we talked about Verstappen. Quickly, some other news and notes from this race, and I'm reading this from dailysportscar.com's report from the entry list revealed today. There are 21 Porsche Cayman GT4s, which have their own category called Cup 3, including Yasser Shaheen, who's trying to get his permit, Adam Adelson from Wright Motorsports, he's trying to get his permit, and I'll read this verbatim from the website, other drivers working on their A permit, which is why Max had to come in and do that race in, that was wasn't it, last year from memory. Their A permit in the lower classes include Porsche contracted driver Harry King, Lamborghini factory driver Sandy Mitchell, and, Josh, 2024 British Touring Car Drivers Champion Jake Hill.
No, oh, of course.
They're all in BMW 330i's, those three guys, at the weekend trying to get their A permit. So Jake is going endurance racing, and he is going to be at the Nurburgring on Saturday, which is excellent.
I know Nina's probably watching, so that might be an idea for content. Keep an eye on Jake Hill, because a lot of the British touring car people were very sad to see him go at the end of last season, and there's a lot of intrigue as to when he'll reappear in the touring cars. But okay, Jake Hill it is. Oh, I might
we'll talk about that and then preview NLS2 in the EPI slot, which is back in the show notes next week.
Absolutely, looking forward to that. Okay, so moving on to our second story of the evening. Now, Hendrick Motorsports driver Alex Bowman will miss his second consecutive NASCAR Cup Series race due to vertigo. Now, during the race at the Circuit of the Americas a couple of weeks ago, Bowman was feeling sick inside of his number 48 Chevrolet. He tried his best to make the full distance, but he couldn't do it, so he pulled the car behind the wall and climbed down. O'Reilly Auto Parts Series regular Matt Schneider, who was working as a Fox Sports pit spotter for Jamie Little at the time, was asked to run the remaining laps at COTA in Bowman's car. Now, in the days after COTA, Bowman was diagnosed with vertigo and forced to miss last weekend's race at Phoenix Raceway. Now, Bowman faces another weekend on the sidelines as he also misses this Sunday's Cup Series race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Now, in the last few years, Bowman has missed several races for various reasons. During the 2022 season, he suffered a concussion at Texas Motor Speedway and missed the next 5 races. In 2023, he broke his back in a sprint car crash and missed 3 races. Now, there's no telling how many races he'll miss while he's recovering from vertigo. We also want to note that his chances of making the chase are very slim because the win and you're in playoff system is now gone. So drivers in situations like Bowman can't miss races anymore. Win a race when you get back and automatically qualify for the postseason. That doesn't happen. So after finishes of 40th, 23rd and 36th, Bowman is facing an uphill battle when he's cleared to return to racing. Now, in the first 3 races of the 2026 season, Bowman only scored 23 points and he's now 77 points below the cut line. That margin to reach the top 16 in points to make the chase will only grow with him missing Las Vegas and potentially more races. So when he gets back, he will have to win multiple races and collect plenty of stage points each week in order to have a chance of a chase berth. Now, team president and general manager Jeff Andrews said that Bowman is continuing to work closely with his doctors and he's still experiencing some lingering vertigo symptoms, but the priority remains making sure he's fully ready to return to racing. Photo courtesy of Hendrick Motorsports. Well, Matt, you were in the commentary call on that one for USM and JB Motorsports on that one. For a driver who's always seemingly on the hot seat in silly season talk, how disappointing is it that this whole situation for Alex Bowman, who will become an even bigger long shot to make the chase, the more races he misses, it's just blow after blow.
Hello, we're at a place called Vertigo. It's... I've been critical of Alex Bowman for a while. Long-time viewers of this show will probably remember that from previous. And unfortunately, this is kind of health issues, not self-inflicted by crashing in a sprint car. I got a little bit out of his hand, or the Texas crash, as you mentioned, when he broke his back, a little bit out of his hands. But he's in a real hole here, and it's going to get deeper and deeper. Good job that team isn't sponsored by JCB. It's just going to be a long road back, and how long we don't know. And he's going to find himself being cut adrift, to use a footballing parlance, at the bottom of the league table, or the point standings in this case. Chase Briscoe's in a bit of a hole, but he's only 50 points back after his relatively rough start to the season. Granted, he finished second at Atlanta. So 77 points to make up from here. It would be doable, but he would need to finish top 5, top 7 every week and not miss any more time to get back there. And even in 100% Alex Bowman healthy mode, you wouldn't say that's likely on form over the last couple of years, especially compared to his 3 teammates who have won a bunch of races and got into the chase, the playoffs as it was, or the chase as it is now, convincingly over the last few years. And of course, Kyle Larson won the championship last season. So it would be a minor miracle if he could get there. But I can't see it, and perhaps this might be the last straw to break the camel's back of someone of Alex Bowman being in the 48 team. Of course, you think of the 48, we talked about this, me and Matthew Owens, on Sunday in our pre-race before Phoenix. You think of the 48 team, you think of Jimmy Johnson, you think of winning races and championships. And that has not been the same since Jimmy stepped away to go IndyCar racing. So something needs to change in that group. Ally are obviously big supporters of Alex, and that kind of feel like they've been keeping him in play a little bit more than perhaps other sponsors might have done. So shame. Get well soon, Alex Bowman. But we'll fingers crossed you're back sooner rather than later. But I think chances of him keeping that seat for too much longer are slim.
No, I'm completely agree with you. We talked about it last year, didn't we, during some Hots and Not segments, that of all the drivers, why keep Alex Bowman for another year when they could have slotted in a driver, arguably, who would be a lot more consistent? And I still don't understand. We even said maybe Suarez should have got that seat after he left Trackhouse, because he was arguably more consistent. And Suarez had a bit of an up and down start, hasn't he, to 2026? And I don't know, it doesn't feel right that he's kept the seat, and well, we'll see how it goes. And Anthony Alfredo, by the way, did a very good job over the weekend. He just got caught up in that wreck, didn't he, towards the end. So last weekend at Felix, as we said, by the way, Hendricks Motorsports simulator driver and O'Reilly Auto Parts Series regular Anthony Alfredo replaced Bowman in the number 48 Chevrolet. Now, in practice and qualifying, Alfredo struggled to get up to speed, earning a 31st place starting position, but the struggles did sadly continue in the race. Alfredo was stuck outside the top 30 for most of the event, but eventually did get back on the lead lap and started working his way towards the front. When Alfredo was running well, he was taken out in that multi-car crash and finished 33rd. But was doing remarkably well for someone who's been thrown into the car. Now, for this weekend's race at Las Vegas, the 2024 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series champion Justin Allgaier will substitute for Bowman. This will be the third time Allgaier has filled in for a Hendrick driver. In 2020, he filled in for Jimmy Johnson at Indianapolis when he tested positive for COVID-19. And in 2024, Allgaier drove Kyle Larson's car at Charlotte while Larson competed in the Indianapolis 500. So, Matt, final question on this segment. Is Hendrick Motorsports making the right decision by putting the number 48 Chevrolet in the hands of a trusted veteran like Allgaier, or do you feel like Anthony Alfredo should have gotten another chance in the car to prove himself?
Well, I thought Alfredo did a great job last weekend, all things considered. I mean, he's in probably Category C equipment in the Grand National Series, O'Reilly Auto Parts, and he's doing a great job in very lesser equipment there. And the team are Hendrick very high on him from all accounts and what he does in the sim. Stage one went green throughout. It was pretty much the longest run of the whole race because it was a bit yellowy. And starting at the back, you're going to get lapped. And that's what happened. But they fought back onto the lead lap and was getting somewhere towards the front. I think it was a two-tire call which vaulted him up. And then he got wiped out in the Joey Logano spin. So bit of a shame because it looked like he was building towards something. But we know Justin Allgaier and his credentials, and he's going to be a busy boy for the next few weeks, isn't he, with double dutying if however long Alex Bowman is out for, and or they don't swap him out and find someone else to sit in. So for owners' championship points, whatever that matters to anybody in March, because no one talks about it until we get to October. The 48 team need to move forward. It's not going to help Alex Bowman's driver situation, obviously, but they need to do something with that team to get it back up, facing in the right direction and pointing forward. So we know all guys' speed, we know he's good, and he'll be a decent stand-in. I'll have to wait and see how he gets on, but not much more to say. Well, it is one of those wait and see things, and obviously, as I said before, we'll hope to get Alex Bowman back in the car as quickly as possible. And Adam says, continue prayers for Alex. Call for Justin to get the ride for this weekend in Las Vegas.
Absolutely, as well. Hopefully, he recovers soon, because on his day, Alex Bowman is quite a driver, as we saw on the streets of Chicago a couple of seasons ago as well. Now, let's move on to our third story of the evening as well. And if ever in our script it says third story or hot topic, I think we've ever had a hotter topic than what we've got coming up, because the NTT IndyCar Series has unveiled the layout for this summer's Freedom 250 Grand Prix of Washington DC. Now, the Washington DC street circuit will be a 7-turn, 1.66-mile track that will host IndyCar on Sunday, August 13th. Now, we'll see the race held on the National Mall and in honor of America's 250th birthday. Taking a closer look at the track, the IndyCar field will speed down the 0.40 mile front stretch on the famous Pennsylvania Avenue, the same street where the White House sits. The Washington Monument and US Capitol will be visible to spectators to appreciate history in the District of Columbia. Now, IndyCar drivers will get to race by famous landmarks such as the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum, the National Gallery of Art, and the National Archives. Now, the race will be free and open to the public, potentially allowing people who've never seen an IndyCar race in person before to experience this at no cost. Joseph Newgarden said the street circuit is unlike the others we've seen in IndyCar, with the high-speed section down Pennsylvania Avenue that will reward commitment and precision. Now, mixed with some technical corners around 9th Street that will demand respect. The graphic here courtesy of Penske Entertainment. Well, there it is on the monitor as well. We've seen it now for ourselves. Kobe, starting with you. Do you like the new Washington DC street circuit layout?
Well, I'll start off by saying I like the scenery around the Washington DC street circuit. If you're a photographer who gets credentialed for this race weekend, I'm actually going to be jealous of you because there's some really nice things that you can see in Washington DC. I mean, I haven't been there since 2010, so it's been a very long time since I've been to the District of Columbia. But there's going to be a lot of great scenery, some great shots that we're going to see from this race weekend if it ends up happening. As you know, there's some crazy stuff happening in the war right now, as we covered on last week's show. So I guess we should say TBD whether this race ends up happening. But if it does, it's going to be really nice, someone to get a shot right here of the cars, going down the National Mall where you can see the Washington Monument and, of course, U.S. Capitol, the Smithsonian, National Gallery, and the National Archives. Some really, some really nice, wonderful landmarks that you can see in Washington DC. But looking at the Washington DC street course, looks extremely simple, right? Like probably too simple. I mean, I always like to say wait and see how this is going to race, and I still say the same thing. But I'm honestly not too terribly impressed by this layout at all. Hopefully it races well, but it's certainly interesting. I'll say that. We've seen IndyCar design some interesting street circuits before. I know we're going to have a new one this weekend in the Dallas area on the streets of Arlington, Texas at AT&T Stadium, home of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll see how that gets along. And then also got a new street race in Canada later in the summer, Markham, in the city of Markham, Ontario, Canada. I believe it's just north of Toronto, I believe, since we're not going to exhibition place anymore. Yeah, so IndyCar, it has designed some street circuits over the years. I remember the Nashville City Street Circuit, which a lot of people, did not like because of how chaotic it was. Maybe Washington DC Street Circuit will be chaotic, but for me right now, I'm more excited about the scenery and the type of photos that we're going to get from this race more so than the street circuit. Although I do think it's pretty cool that they're going to have a race on the National Mall and getting a drive down Pennsylvania Avenue where the White House is. That's definitely another cool factor when you look at it from that perspective.
Yeah, we've had some weird and wonderful street races, haven't we, in the IndyCar and kart and all of that over the years. Baltimore, San Jose, Vancouver, Denver. Just last night I watched a race at the Meadowlands from 1984. And they were all weird and wonderful in their own way. At least they happened, because I'm not entirely sure that this one will. Point of order for the track map also. Obviously, it's going counterclockwise if you follow the corner numbers. Why can't turn 1 be at the top? So the start-finish line.
I didn't notice that.
The start-finish line is going to be on 3rd Street, and then the pit lane is going to be after it, surely. Why can't they just... whatever. Just an IndyCar thing. They did it at Nashville, didn't they, where they had the start-finish line in a different place and the restart line in a different place to the finish. And why can't we just have
I presume
layout properly?
Well, I presume that's because they want the control line on the mall in front of the Capitol, so they want that little direct line to say that this is it, green flag at the Capitol. Which is ironic because the last time we had loads of people gathered around the Capitol, it didn't end well, did it?
Well, yeah, and they turned up for free as well.
Well, look, the last time Donald Trump said, come to the Capitol, come on. There's an open door here. I'm writing these down ready for August, honestly. The Country Box wall is going to be littered with them. Quite like the
more things
capital.
that happen between then and now and then.
I'm British. I can make these jokes. It's fine.
They need to throw a Formula E style chicane into one of those straights somewhere, just to mix it up. But that little complex around the top left-hand corner, the map there looks like it might produce some passing zones, but it's gonna be fast if nothing else. Looking at the track map, but I don't think it's going to happen anyway, so I don't think we have to worry about too much of it, to be honest.
You can tell it's been rushed.
It will look fantastic.
But you can tell it's been rushed, can't you? You can tell that that's not what they wanted. You can tell that has been massively rushed in order to make this happen, because there's just so much better you can do. There really is. It's like, why can't we go further up a couple of streets and have a little bit of a technical section like we have, say, at Toronto? Why is this sort of... It just looks like someone's gone straight, little bit of a curve, done. It's Vegas. If you look at it, if you think about it, it's quite Las Vegas.
Yeah, well, that works to some degree for Formula One, as we've seen especially last year. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. It will look great on iRacing, let's put it that way.
Yes, I look forward to that. I think it's cool. Fans can attend the Freedom 250 for free. Nicely out. Absolutely.
If only we could have a Freedom 100.
Yeah, they didn't hear, did they?
Yeah, it would have been nice to have a Freedom 100, but maybe someday, if we keep hyping the Freedom 100 to come back, that it will eventually come back. So we'll speak that into existence. And also just wanted to add another point about fans being able to attend. I think it's great that it's going to be open to the public, so you can try to get more people exposed to IndyCar, because as we all know, especially in today's economy, it can be really difficult for a lot of families and people to go to the racetrack in person. So the best thing they can do is, just sit at home and watch it on TV or stream it. That's really, the only option some people have. So getting to the racetrack, with all the costs and all that, is usually, really difficult for a lot of families out there. So I think if it's free, maybe if people wanted to travel from a distance to go to this race, it would be a lot friendlier on them, where they wouldn't have to, spend money on tickets and this and that, to try to get to the racetrack. So it'll be a lot easier. And maybe there will be some people who are curious about what's going on and decide to, pop a squat in the stands and see what IndyCar is all about. So from that perspective, I'm really excited that some people can get out to the racetrack. But at the same time, as we covered on last week's show, we talked about the crisis in the Middle East, the war in Iran. I also wonder with this, being a free-for-all event, that if things haven't cooled down by then, this could be a hot spot for a terrorist attack. I really hate to say that, but I hope it doesn't come to that. But, there's always a possibility, especially, in that city, since, that is the capital of America.
You say that, but I'm sure we'll get into this on Hots or Nots. But, that's the reason why we're currently thinking, is there no Bahrain Grand Prix? Is there no Saudi Arabian Grand Prix? I know Saudi Arabia have been very much public saying, no, we are going ahead. But, Saudi Arabia was dangerous before we even started going. I mean, you can't deny it, because I've covered events where literally there was missiles being thrown at the Formula E circuit. We had a missile thrown at the Aramco oil factory back in 2023 when Formula One there. Throughout first practice, we could see the smoke flying up at the side of the monitors. So, Saudi Arabia was dangerous before, and they can put on and say, oh, no, you're safe. But, you can't be fully safe. And, Matt, did you hear say that Britain has stopped all flights to Abu Dhabi until later on this year?
Oh no, I haven't. I've been out the news cycle today. So
there you go.
Yeah.
So that's already put on.
I saw something along those lines, Josh. I was reading the news this morning. I saw something that was saying British Airlines is going to be canceling flights for the foreseeable future to these certain countries. And I saw I saw basically all the Formula One countries where they race. So there, I saw Doha, Qatar. I saw Saudi Arabia on there, and I saw Dubai, Abu Dhabi. So I mean, it's ironic saying this when. Please do not take this out of context when I say this, because considering that we're talking about Iran and terrorist attacks, but it's just a fact that 9 of the 11 teams, that's just not saying anything about that, but it is fact that we've got only was it now? Racing Bulls and Ferrari, they're based in Italy. The other 9 Formula One teams are based in Britain and have to go from Britain to these countries via chartered flights. So if it's on a no-fly list, you can't get there. So we're entering a point where it's going to be very soon they have to say, no, the race is off. We'll see how it goes.
sports were, Adam says, I love the Meadowlands circuit back in there. Yeah, Mario Andretti won by a lap in the race I watched yesterday.
Meadowlands is cool. I don't know if it's that.
Sky Sports were reporting at the beginning of the week that this is a bit of a follow-up really from what we were talking about last week. We're going to know what's going to happen with Saudi and Bahrain by next Friday, the 20th, if it's going to go ahead or not. And if they don't go ahead, they won't be being replaced, which is something we talked about on the show last week with Omi. Where would they go instead? Well, it looks like we're just going to have 2 short Grand Prix. And then something else we didn't mention on the show last week, Azerbaijan borders Iran, and we forgot to mention that Azerbaijan's in September for Baku, and that's a bordering country of Iran. We talked about Qatar, Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, Saudi, but we sort of
missed Azerbaijan.
Misdirected the missile and missed Azerbaijan.
It's a really.
Yeah, I thought I saw a drone hit Baku from Iran. I think I saw that on the news.
Yeah.
So,
well, if you bring that into question, then you have to bring into question: do we really want to race in America 3 times this year? So suddenly the F1 calendar that was 24 races just starts getting smaller and smaller.
It look like a World Superbike calendar where they go to Australia and have the rest of the races in Europe.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I was just before we came on, I was reading a press briefing that I got given. Pirelli, I think a set of 200 tyres haven't arrived yet in Shanghai, and we go practicing in less than 48 hours. So they're in a lot of trouble. I think that the parts haven't arrived from certain shipping bits as well, because the same set that does Australia doesn't necessarily then go on and do China. There's rotations around. I think the only things that do, to be honest with you, I think the only sets that do the same race are broadcasting units, like commentary units as well. They do the same amount. But no, from what I know is Pirelli have lost a lot of tyres. They've been given another exemption. Teams have also got another wave around that they won't have the lockdown overnight this week again. So we're just in absolute chaos. It's going to be a big, big ask. Either way, though, I hope this race is well organised, not a mess that IndyCar makes it look bad. That makes IndyCar look bad. This race is going to be something when we get there. I think we just have to go.
Yeah. Just the only thing I'll say about this is what I said last time when they announced this race. Whenever they did, was it a few weeks ago, I believe, when they announced this, or a month ago? I'm not really sure. Time is moving really. Time's really moving fast, losing track of the days here. But whenever they announced this, I said that this race could be fun as long as we keep the political fanfare to a minimum. If we can keep it to a bare minimum and not let that be the headline, I think IndyCar will be okay in Washington DC. But if this becomes a political event with the IndyCar sideshow, then we have a problem.
Yes, I agree. I can create a better street course as well. I'm sure Alaska. I think you could. Right.
Well, Formula E race in Milton Keynes quite easily.
Oh, that's just a car park. It's easily done then.
It's square.
Milton Keynes. Yeah, it's
much like the Washington DC IndyCar track. It's just square.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, it'd be quite interesting. Well, if Formula 1 could go there, then I think that'll be quite interesting. Still, what happens if Trump says executive order for a Formula 1 race? I wonder what Liberty would do. Yeah,
that's a question.
Yeah, that's a what if scenario, isn't it? Anyway, there's no Grid EPI update this week, as Matt said, so I've got the very unusual task to throw to Kobe for more news stories. Over to you, mate.
It's just time for some more motorsports news from around the world. 2-time NASCAR local racing series national champion Connor Hall will run part-time this year in the Craftsman Truck Series. Hall will drive the number 4 Chevrolet Silverado for Nice Motorsports, with his first race coming on Friday, April 3rd at Rockingham Speedway on Easter weekend. In 2024, he made his Truck Series debut at Richmond Raceway and finished 10th. Over the offseason, Hall joined Nice to help oversee the team's new late model stock car program, which will primarily be used for driver development purposes, and his role includes serving as crew chief for select late model stock car races. Team CEO Cody Efall said Hall is one of those drivers who can really shine in their program and believes his short track success will translate to the Truck Series, graphic courtesy of Nice Motorsports. The NTT IndyCar Series is experimenting with a revised qualifying format for the inaugural race weekend this Sunday on the streets of Arlington, Texas. While the knockout format of the two groups will remain The same for the first 2 rounds of qualifying. The Firestone Fast 6 will get an adjustment at the Arlington Street Circuit. IndyCar will try out one shot single car qualifying, with each driver in the Firestone Fast 6 getting to run one time lap. The final round of qualifying will begin with the 6th fastest driver to advance from the Fast 12 and work towards the fastest driver going out last. IndyCar decided to try this out to create a greater opportunity to spotlight the challenges of competing for a top starting spot on the grid. After the Arlington Street Race weekend, IndyCar will evaluate the experimental format and see if it's something they want to move forward with in future qualifying sessions on the road in street courses. Fox Sports CEO and executive producer Eric Shanks said he believes this will be an exciting way to showcase IndyCar stars and dig deeper into what it truly takes to drive on the razor's edge. Graphic courtesy of AT&T Stadium. That's the layout that we'll be using this weekend. And if you compare it to Washington, DC, this looks more appetizing. Connor Daly secured a seat for the 110th running of the Indianapolis 500 after losing his full-time seat in the NTT IndyCar Series with Hunko's 100 race at the end of last season. Daly will do a one-off in Dreyer and Reinbold's number 23 Chevrolet with sponsorship from Kingspan. Daly previously drove for Dreyer and Reinbold in 2024 in the Indy 500, coming from 29th on the grid to finish 10th. The native of Noblesville, Indiana, has a strong record at the Speedway, scoring 5 top 10s in 12 starts. Daly said having the chance to go racing at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway means the world to him and thanked the team for giving him the job he enjoys. Graphic courtesy of Dreyer and Reinbold. And that's all of the headlines I have for you this week. So turn over to Matt for everyone's favorite game. Pick a winner.
Thank you, Kobe. Couple of pick a winner points coming your way this week. Our predictions game that we run pretty much every single weekend throughout the year. There is how the point standings look, which had a fair shake-up after the weekend with plenty of points up for grabs. We have a tie at the top of the standings. The two guys that fought it out all season last year for the 2025 Pick a Winner Championship are level. Matt and Kobe on 7, Tanner on 6. JT, good evening to you if you're watching, is joint with me on 4 points. Josh, yet to get on the board. We can change that this weekend.
Well, I'm there at 11th. I'm on 2.
Oh, sorry. My eyes aren't working. Yes, you are. I take that all back. So forget I said that. Anyway, we have points available this weekend. Arlington IndyCar, NASCAR Las Vegas, and we are going to, and the Grand Prix in China. But tonight we're going to pick the WRC Rally Safari, which gets underway tomorrow. So much like I said on the show last week, you need to get your pick in quickly. When we were talking about supercars last week, this week it is get your pick in quickly for WRC in Kenya, round 3 of the championship. Toyota yet to be beaten in this event since it came back onto the calendar after the COVID pandemic. And for that reason, I'm going to go with a Toyota driver, and I'm going to go with the Welsh wizard, Elfyn Evans, to win this weekend. Kobe?
I believe I'll go with Sebastian Ogier to win Safari Rally Kenya. I always look forward to this rally every year because, you know, all the great pictures you can see. I already seen Ogier's posted some nice photos from Kenya of, you know, of giraffes, zebras, and flamingos. So I guess the animals will give him some good vibes this weekend in Kenya. So I'm going with him.
Yeah, Oliver Solberg also posting some pictures up of his safari antics so far this week. Let's do sprint racing in Formula One for the first time in 2026, and that is at Shanghai on Saturday morning for us in the UK, late in the night for you guys stateside. I am going to go for the man that won this race last year, Lewis Hamilton, to win the sprint race in Shanghai.
Yeah, I think that'll be a great pick, Matt. If Australia was any indicator of where things can go, Ferrari and Mercedes seem like they're going to be going back and forth, at least during this early part of the season, you know, for these Grand Prix wins. But I think I'm going to stick with the guy who ended up winning the Grand Prix last weekend. I think George Russell and Mercedes are going to take the sprint race in Shanghai. Who you have, Josh?
Well, I'm going for a guy who didn't even start in Australia. Now, I'll take your bets on who that could be. I'm going for Oscar Piastri just because it's well, okay, well, yeah, Nico Hulkenberg could win it. Or Lance Stroll. No, he did start, didn't he? He didn't start. And that was in qualifying along with Sainz. God, it was a busy weekend. But no, I'm going for Oscar Piastri because he needs to fight back. And every time he does fight back stronger. And this is where last year he did so well in the Grand Prix.
You can get your picks in all the way up until the Lights go out, drop of green flag, first stage begins on all of the events this weekend. Use the hashtag pick a winner, tag us on whatever social media platform of your choice. We are on all of them, Grid Network TV. Joey's going with Elvin as well for Kenya at the weekend. Adam is also going for Elvin Evans, and he is going for George Russell to win the Chinese sprint race on Saturday. So 2 Formula 1 points available for you, the Grand Prix and the Sprint, WRC Kenya, IndyCar Arlington and NASCAR at Las Vegas. Get your name on that board there and you can be featured on the show in this slot next week. Right then, let's get into hots and nots from what was a spectacularly, stupidly busy March weekend. I think, Josh, we've probably got to start with the Grand Prix, do we not?
We do, because it did have its hot moments as well as not moments. Definitely, I think a hot for me was it was unpredictable until it was predictable. But it's not going to be like Russell and Anthony going to dominate every weekend. We've got this sort of weird situation where it is going to be different every week, and I like that. Ferrari have generally improved. Arguably, I think they had one missed time with the safety car, but their strategy has improved. They're working a lot more together as a team. Their pace has improved. They'll get it together quite quickly. But the ultimate hot for me was Q1, when the sandbags came off and Mercedes went 1-2 by quite a margin, and Toto Wolff just looked to the side and smiled on the camera. I thought, "Oh, here we go. So yeah, that was my ultimate hot of the weekend. But no, I enjoyed Australia. The first 28 laps were fantastic, and then the last half of the race, that's where we had problems. And I would die on this hill. Regulations, they're fine. They will work. The problem with Formula One is Pirelli tyres. We need to fix it.
The Mercedes emptied half of their sandbags in P3, didn't they? But they fully unloaded the tank in Q1. To everyone going, oh, including drivers going, oh, they've been sandbagging. That's not fair.
It's an illegal engine. It's an illegal engine. Test it now. Test it now. It's not. It's illegal. Oh, get over here. It's fine.
Had a moan, didn't he? I think about Mercedes on Saturday. Oh, come on, man!
But he's literally powered by a Mercedes engine. It's like shooting himself in the foot, isn't it? No wonder they nerfed him the next day. It was like that was a targeted hit, wasn't it?
I'll come to that. They've been very good at the start of all these big regulation changes. What did you expect? I don't understand. I got up. You obviously did it live, Josh. I got up at 5 and came, which was an hour after it started. Didn't look at the phone, just came down, put it on, and watched it as live from the beginning of the race.
That counts.
Didn't watch it. Yeah, it doesn't go down as a live on my spreadsheet, but it is counted. And I then obviously got to the end and looked at my phone and went, "Oh, what's everyone complaining about?"
Yeah, I know.
Because the first 10 to 15 laps up to the first pit stops were really good. Like, granted, it was those two teams at the front and not really much else going on apart from Max picking his way through after his qualifying spin. But it's going to be different tracks week to week. It's going to be teams. Well, everyone's going to figure this out. This is the first time they'll have proper data to go off this week from a race. You can do all the race running you want in testing, but it's not the same around Bahrain, which they may or may not now go back to again this year. And it's not the same. So, yeah, we might see this weekend, it might be McLaren and Red Bull at the front. Or Williams could be strong. Yeah. They're a little bit further behind the 8 ball and overweight.
The only thing really with it was... The only real negative was the fact is that, yes, there are problems. We know there's problems. But Australia was never really the be-all and end-all of season openers. It's had some classics, but that's always been because, it's rained. Weather. It's greasy. Yeah, it's too hot. So, like last year, in 2008, it was too hot. It was physically too hot. We were just having a problem after problem with it. But we very rarely get great season openers at Australia.
No, and I don't think the track layout helped with the big long run.
Yeah.
Then the fast left, right, and then another big long run to empty your battery. Whereas, it'll be different on track to track basis. Obviously,
China's
we've got
coming
a
up.
straight at Shanghai this weekend, but other places on the track, the hairpin in the middle will now become an overtaking spot.
Yeah. Is Suzuka going to become good? That's another thing. Because I can only think of 2 straight mode zones, down through Spoon towards 130R and down the start-finish straight. Yeah, so get those on and will be a quite interesting overtaking. I think Japan, which was the most boring race last year, might be the most exciting race this year. And I think that's what people forget. Japan is a great circuit. It really works.
With a couple of straights like that are far apart in terms of track map. I was thinking about Silverstone. You'll have the run down Wellington. You'll have maybe a little bit down the pit straight, but then you've got the run down Wellington, and then you've got half the lap to get back to Hangar Straight again, or vice versa, depending on when you use your battery.
Yeah,
so
and that recharges quite quick. We found out. That's another thing. So it works. And there was a lot of Crofty and Martin were getting a lot of stick in the commentary. I noticed on Twitter. I was struggling. We don't know when they're on overtake, when they're on boost. We don't know when they're super clipping or whatever. It's very hard to convince.
Yeah. I thought there was I think it must have been Crofty, mentioned that there's supposed to be a graphic coming for when people are on boost or something. So that will be better when we get that, or whenever that will be. So,
I think they need to work into the timing tower.
I was not as offended by the Grand Prix as all of Twitter, especially X, is, and we know that people on X are offended by everything.
Oh yeah.
So
definitely.
So didn't mind it.
IndyCar, hot.
I've not seen it, so
I won't say anything then. That's fine. Mercedes IndyCar Phoenix.
6 months to watch it.
Oh right. Well, in that case, IndyCar Phoenix was great. Honestly, great. IndyCar Phoenix was great. That's a hot. What's not hot is Fox's coverage of it. That was really shocking. There was no timing tower. There was no lap counter. Throughout the weekend, it was stoppages of Newgarden's camera during practice. It was really hard to cover the event, but the actual racing was quite good, and we had some quite exciting movements. I thought NASCAR was quite good at Phoenix. I thought that was an improvement. The tire blowouts keep improving, but I'd rather take Phoenix now than as a season finale. Definitely.
I enjoyed the double event of IndyCar and NASCAR together, as I did when they did it in Indianapolis a few years ago. And if they carried on doing that, I probably would have gone at some point, even though it's on the road course and not the big oval. But I feel like they need another one of those in the Fox portion of the season somewhere else, where IndyCar is the switch it and have IndyCar on the Sunday. And have
America,
the cut race, Texas on the oval.
Texas, yeah.
Me and Matthew were talking about this during the race on Sunday. Somewhere like that. It was going to be in that first portion of the season, of course, where Fox is all over it. So, bring it to other track. Adam's in agreement. New Hampshire, Richmond. I say it's got to be in that first portion before May, basically. Maybe take the Cup Series to Barber.
Yeah. To give us a road course, give us something a bit different that we could get our teeth into. It astounds me that with all the road courses we've got in the United States, that NASCAR don't use them, and they use the ridiculous ones. Well, it annoys me so much. Like, why are we racing at Sonoma? There's a reason IndyCar didn't go back there.
Sonoma.
I know, but why? It's so boring a race. It's so boring. Even look, it's boring when Darrell Wartrip goes, "Oh yeah, this is my last race. Oh no, I'll come back and do the All-Star at Dover, just because I can't let that one be my last race." It's terrible. It's not a good circuit. It's dull to watch. And when IndyCar was there, you spent half the time just looking at the winery. That was it. It was ridiculous.
Well, most of the time in that period of time, it was because Will Power was a long way up the road in front of everybody else.
That too, yeah. the day we went into it, 5 drivers in the hunt for a championship, and who comes out on top? Not good. Anyway, I'm all hot and knotted out, really, because there wasn't that much going on, was there?
Not Oscar Piastri. The Australian curse at Melbourne continues.
Prema.
What do they have to do to get the result?
Prema's Harry Carey.
Yeah. Was indeed. I haven't seen it. I saw some still images. And I was like, oh dear. Ryan Wood running into Thomas Randall at the same corner. I think that was race 3 of Supercars.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Silly.
F1 Twitter then trying to make out that F1 TV had missed a Red Bull crash with it. That was hilarious. Yeah, that was hilarious. No, that's Supercars. That's Supercars. No. Oh, and not if I hear one of the Sky F1 team call it V8 Supercars again, I'm going to get a baseball bat. Because it is not V8 Supercars. It hasn't been V8 Supercars for nearly a decade. Yeah, over a decade then. It's not V8, it's just Supercars. Just call it Supercars.
If they slid some V6s in, just and no one told them, they still call it V8 Supercars.
We don't call Formula One. Oh yeah, it's the V10 Formula Ones, is it? No. Really annoying.
Formula V6 hybrid era.
Yeah, it's like, oh dear, Dad. Yeah, well, now it's battery era, isn't it, as well? Look, give it time.
Yeah. Also, obviously, Aston Martin not as well for reasons that we discussed on the show last week, for which you weren't here for, but we did talk about them. And
SMI and Simona used to be great, yeah.
Yeah, says Joe. Not Botfin out. Yeah, he did win one of the races, which gave me a pick winner point. But Tanner's jump on the leaderboard because he picked Kostecki to win all of them, and he got 3.
That'll do it. So, Rebecca Lee. Might not. You're supposed to tease us, Rebecca. It's the first start of a brand new season. You're supposed to wait, not go, 5th light's on for a nanosecond, now they all go.
Oh, the person that pressed the button. Right.
Yeah, okay. That's Rebecca Lee. It was Leclerc, wasn't it, that said something in his post-race interview about that, we've been talking all winter about the starts, and then someone pressed the button really quickly. Literally, I was there going, all 5 lights, they've gone out very quickly, action in 2026. It was very hard to go like, oh yeah, right now we go. It caught everyone out. Crofty went, wow, that's a start we've not seen before. Yeah, because the 5th light was on for the shortest time ever, and then they all go out. I think they did it deliberately, just to see who was telling the truth about, can these cars actually get off the line quick? I've been told that they will not do that in Shanghai. The drivers are really, really angry about that because Colapinto had to avoid Lawson and nearly... And that was all because the 5th light went out way too quick. There's supposed to be a pause between 2 and 5 seconds. It went out between 0.2 seconds. So definitely the button was pressed. On some of them, you can't even see the 5th light. That's how quick it was on. Some of the cameras that you see, the 4th light comes on and then they all go out. But the 5th light did come on. But yeah, nanosecond.
Well, yeah, we'll see how that works out. Quickly, very parochially, I knotted Sky's new intro.
Yep,
last week on the show. Rubbish. Well done to Channel 4. Who have gone with Justice Genesis. It's brilliant. They've knocked it out of the park. Proper music with proper imagery. Very good. Just impose that to Sky, and then we'd be perfect. Good riddance, Danica Patrick. Yeah.
Oh, she's gone. Yeah. Can't do my joke anymore.
The witch is dead.
Yeah. Danica's gone.
She's up there on my shelf. She's too far away. I could have brought her back, but I didn't.
Well, you say yay, but negative is that she'll probably be back for IndyCar at the 500. They always try and wheel her out, dust her down. Yeah, put the fake skin on and all that lot as well.
Red Bull second seat car still going, but I thought Hajar was really good at the weekend, and he was let down by the car.
Yeah, he was let down by the Ford engine because he outqualified Max because Max's accident, but he was faster than Max in the practice sessions. He was more settled in, and actually, my star of the weekend, Arvid Lindblad.
Yeah.
What a great get-up. Megan said in commentary, how is a rookie in P3 at the end of lap 1? That was an amazing get-up. He was up like 7 places. It was fantastic.
All Lindblad, of the Brits scoring points as well.
Yeah, 5 out of the top 5 of the top 8, wasn't it? Yeah. Red Bull second seat car's going. No, Siegel, sorry, but he had to go. He's got to go. Fox coverage at Phoenix. Yeah, I think Siegel's got to go. Definitely.
Yeah, I can't see. Working. They're giving him a fair crack, haven't they? By the looks of things, and it's just not.
Yeah. Going
forward, especially when his 2 teammates are pretty much week in, week out up there fighting for wins and podiums.
I think we'll see him change. They should never have got rid of David Malukas. It's because look at him at the weekend.
Yeah.
Malukas is what 2 for 2 now.
Well, yeah, and then they should have not got rid of Pourchaire either.
That's also true. Yeah. Pourchaire was doing really well because, in my opinion, Malukas he's had some interesting results, isn't he? But Malukas has been there in both weekends. He's been fast in both weekends. So the more he grows, the more he'll earn that 12 title. Yeah.
Still my pick for the 500.
Oh, I'm agreeing with you there. I think that's a very good early shout. Okay, we all knotted out.
Yes, I think we're done. Pretty much bang on 1 hour. We've managed to drag that out to an hour.
Yeah, because
not much going on in the world this week.
Yes. Next week, however, we'll probably would have more information for you. Probably some cancellation on races. But taking a look at our upcoming schedule, Sunday, Grid Live wrap-up. That's going to be 90 minutes after the NASCAR Cup Series race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Monday, Grid Rising is at 7 p.m. Eastern, recapping O'Reilly's at Las Vegas. Indy Next on the streets of Arlington, plus other motorsport action. And please do continue to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you liked what you saw tonight, you can send us a YouTube super chat to show your appreciation. We've now passed 1,700 subscribers. Please help us reach our next milestone of 2,000 subscribers. You can hit the bell icon to get notifications so you'll always know when we go on the air. You can follow all of our social media platforms and visit gridnetworktv.com. You can take 5 minutes to invest in the Grid Network through Patreon. You can join Colin, Mark, Deshelle, Robin, David, Matthew, Crystal, and Nico, who all invest each month in the Grid Network. And we encourage you to join these great group of people who keep us on the air all year long. And once we hit $500 per month, we can afford to send our team to the chat more often and continue growing our media outlet. Link to all of this is in the media video description below. And if you want to make a one-time donation, you can click on the Buy Me a Coffee link, get your name on the board, and invest as much as you want. And consider buying your favorite on-air personality a cup of coffee, and they will thank you on the air. So, for Kobe Lambeth and Matt White from Grid Endurance Performance Index, I'm Joshua Birch from JB Motorsports. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.